Like my first office toy. My name is Casey Fraze. I'm 21 years old, and I'm a junior at Florida Gulf Coast studying public health. I realized I was trans when I was in high school because I was going through puberty for the first time, and the changes that were happening to my body I wasn't comfortable with. 14
Okay.
is when I started feeling like discomfort. I didn't know I was trans at first when I felt discomfort because that wasn't a term in my vocabulary yet. I grew up in a small town in Central Florida where trans people didn't really exist, or if they did, they were forced in the closet, so like there was no conversation about trans people. I had no idea that that was a thing. Like I wasn't comfortable with my body. I would like go to school with a backpack full of men's clothes and change when I got to school, and then change out when I got back on the bus. So I had like work around it. I made it work for me though, and when I was 16, I was on Tumblr and I found a transgender man's blog of like his transition story, and I like immediately just clicked, and I was like, this is everything that I've been feeling. And yeah, so I came out to myself at 16. I knew I was transgender, but I stayed in the closet until I was 19. When I was exploring my identity as a teenager and trying to figure things out, I never like voiced my discomfort to my family, obviously out of fear. So I kept it to myself, but there were a few times I got caught, like exploring my identity. I got brave enough to cut my hair at 15 actually, and I like got the 2012 Justin Bieber haircut from like Prick Clips. It was a bad haircut, but I came home and my dad was like, I hate it, like, why would you do that? And he was never aggressive with me, but I didn't realize it was abuse at the time, because it wasn't physical abuse, obviously. It was just super unaccepting and unwelcoming. Yeah, my best friend Allie, we met when we were in 6th grade, and I wasn't out at the time. I didn't even know I was trans, so she met me as Cassandra, and we were close then. And we graduated high school together, and we came to FGCU together, actually. She was my roommate freshman year, so she was the first person I came out to in high school, and it was immediately like, there was no transition period for her, which is super common for people, for transgender people who come out to people. There's usually like a latent period with like their family or close friends where there's like a lot of getting used to like the new pronouns, the new name, the new gender identity as a whole. But Allie, it was like immediately, like there was no questioning about it. It was like the switch just flipped.
Hello, my name is Allison Cross. There was never really a point in time I knew something was different. He never really showed signs of changing of his personality. He's always been the same person. He's always treated me the same. That's why there really was no transition phase for me, because our friendship never changed. He was just learning about himself, and as was I at that time, so we were both just learning about ourselves and doing what was best for ourselves, and so whatever he chose to do, I was on board with, because he's one of the only friends I have from middle and high school. And
Yeah, so to transition, starting it is a little tricky. It depends on like where you live and like what insurance you have. So there's two different routes you can take for getting hormones prescribed. You can go to a health clinic like Planned Parenthood, that's where I go, and you can do what's called informed consent. So that is like, it's a document created by the clinic that's like, this is all the risks and the potential like long-term risks that you could see with taking this medicine, and you're like signing off on saying like, I know the risks and I'm willing to do the blood work every 6 months to like keep up with it. If you stop doing the blood work, like they don't give you the hormones anymore. So that's like really quick. I did that, and like 2 days later I had a prescription. So it's great, super convenient. But the other route that I tried originally was you get what's called a T letter. It's a testosterone letter. You can only get one through a licensed mental health counselor. So it's basically you go to therapy, gender therapy, and insurance doesn't cover that. And they diagnose you with gender identity disorder, and then you can start. So I actually started here.
Okay.
I started in Fort Myers. Because to do informed consent, you have to be 18. So I started when I was 19. Yeah, so I started in Fort Myers, and the money, like, it wasn't... Thankfully, it's not a lot, because I have insurance that covers it. But for people that don't, Planned Parenthood works on, like, a sliding scale. They've offered me, like, social support, too. They're great in terms of that, but things that I didn't think I needed support in, like, routine reproductive health care, because I'm sexually active. So getting STI testing at Planned Parenthood is a lot less scary than going to any other clinic. And trans people still need, like, pap smears and prostate exams and breast cancer exams, so I get those done there too. My license says male, and it says Casey James Race, and I paid a lot of money for that. But it took a long time for me to get it. I was 19, and I had to go back to my hometown for the summer to go to, like, the courthouse in my county, because you can't do it in, like, the college town you live in or whatever. So I had to file with the courts to get a name change and pay a bunch of money for it. I had no lawyer, so I did it all by myself. It was really exhausting, so I think, like, A, the money is huge, because it was more than $1,200 to get it changed. That was the court fee, yeah. That doesn't include, like, the fee of getting a new license, or the new social security card, or updating your bank, or updating, like, your car insurance. Like, it's, like, a whole thing. So, like, the money and the patience is one thing, but, like, the toll it takes on your mental health to do it is, like, a totally different accessibility thing. So I'm really privileged that I could do it. In terms of, like, changing my gender marker, so my license says male, but my birth certificate says female. So Planned Parenthood signed off on a letter saying that I could get my gender marker changed on my license, so it was as simple as, like, I had to show it to the DMV and they were really confused, but, like, it's literally just delete the F and add the M. So it worked, but it was, like, a hiccup for them, like, they didn't understand. But I can't get a passport. I could, I guess, but I'm not going to pay for one because you have to show your birth certificate. So my passport would say female, and me traveling with a female document would not go well. I think it's important to realize that, like, you can't negotiate with someone's existence. Like, you can hate me for any reason you want, but you can't hate me because I'm trans. Because it's, like, I'm a person, like, it's not, like, an attribute, like, I like the Patriots and you hate me because of that. Like, it's senseless. Coming out really sucked. I think, like, up until, like, right when I started testosterone, up until, like, 6 months, that was, like, the most challenging. Because it's not, like, coming out as trans is, like, a one-time thing where it's like, hey, I'm trans, I go by Casey, and you should call me he, him from here forward. It's, like, everyone I met, like, every day, I had to come out to, or else I wouldn't be Casey.
And I view Casey as one of the strongest, most determined people I think I'll ever come across in my life.
I got it.
You got it?
Yep. Do you want to hit start stop?